dai, yai dai di dai 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 dai, kol haolam kulo, gesher tsar meod, gesher tsar meod, gesher tsar meod, kol haolam kulo, gesher tsar meod, gesher tsar meod. והעיקר לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל, והעיקר לא לפחד כלל. Ni nai 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 nai, yai nai nai nai, yai nai 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 nai, yai nai nai nai, nai nai nai, yini nai 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 nai.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wilderness Torah's virtual village. My name is Sarah Elise, and I am the Operations and Special Projects Coordinator here at Wilderness Torah. We're so glad to have you here this morning. Just one second. Great. As many of you have been here before, has anyone not been here before for Virtual Village? Anybody new? Okay, great. Maybe some folks on Facebook have not been here before, but we're so happy to have you here as part of our Virtual Village. We're creating this virtual life during this time of COVID-19 and uncertainty. We are committed to keeping Virtual Village accessible and free. If you would like to support Wilderness Torah in this effort, we welcome any and all donations, big or small, as we endeavor to provide Jewish wisdom and community building through this hard time. If you are new or would like to find out more about what we do and how to get involved, my peer Malka will put the link into our website and donation page in the chat right now. This session is being recorded and is live streamed to Facebook. We'll be uploading recorded sessions to our website, so check back in for future use. Every Thursday, we've been having Rabbi Zelig give his wisdom, and especially if you're newer to kind of wilderness Judaism, the opportunity to learn more about the foundations of Wilderness Torah here. Thank you all so much, and Zelig, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Sarah Elise. Welcome, everyone, to Wilderness Torah Virtual Village. It's good to be here on this day, Malchut Sheba Yesod, the 42nd day of the Omer. And Malchut is the fullness of manifestation, of realization. It's also the queendom, or the full presence of divinity, which is manifested in full physicality, full spirit, its fullness. And Yesod is foundation, it's a taproot. So today we're going to be looking at Hit Bodedut. And just a heads up, before we get started, we're going to look at text. We're specifically going to look at the teachings of Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, the great 18th century Hasidic master who adopted Hit Bodedut as one of his core practices for himself and his students. And it's a core experience in the realm of Jewish nature connection. And really all societies throughout the ages that had meaningful earth connection spent considerable amounts of time outside alone as a regular practice, as well as for particular life moments. So before we jump in, I'd love to hear from a couple people, maybe say, hello, my name is, and this is what I'm interested in today, or this is why I came to this class. So hello, my name is, and maybe where you're coming from, where you're learning from right now, your location. So, hi, my name is Rabbi Zelig. I'm in Occidental California, and I love nature. Who's next? Andy.
Okay, I won't leave you hanging. I'm Andy. I'm in Kirkland, Washington. I too love nature, and I am exploring how nature and Judaism connect. And you guys have been helping so much. So boundless gratitude.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andy. Welcome. Kirkland, Washington. A location dear to my heart. I grew up in Spokane, Washington. So I went to the University of Washington, just across the lake from you. So good to be connecting to Washington right now. And is there another individual who'd like to say, hello, my name is, and where I'm from and why I'm here, or what I'm excited about? Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm living in Portland, Oregon. Happy to be here in the Northwest, which is very deeply connected to nature. I'm inspired a lot by birdsong. I'm a musician, and the mathematics and the spirituality of birds singing in trees is just absolutely fascinating to me. And I love spring, and it's just spring is so beautiful in the Northwest. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Welcome, Aaron. I saw Jane's hand go up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jane. I'm from Oakland. And I was really, really looking forward to going to Passover in the desert this year. So obviously that's not happening. So I said, let me just hook into this learning and opportunity to connect to community. So thank you.
Wonderful. Welcome, Jane. I love that we're here. Washington, Oregon, California is represented. I imagine other places as well. And it's just really good to be good to be here together. So towards the last third of the session, we're going to spend some time in Hitbodedut. So just a heads up that in the last 20 minutes, we'll spend some time alone. We'll come back and share a little bit, and that's how we'll close. So I just want to give you that. If you didn't see that in the description, prepare yourself in whatever way is necessary. And if you can go outside into your garden or into your backyard or a nearby park, great. And if you can't, you'll see. Rabbi Nachman, Hitbodedut can also happen indoors, but I of course recommend the nature connection aspect of it. So opening up a window or something like that, but we'll worry about that in about a half an hour. So into some text. Sarah Elise, would you mind reading the poem that's on the screen just to bring in another voice?
Not at all. I'm happy to. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense.
Thank you. So take a moment and just go to a moment where you were in the field, literally or perhaps metaphysically, metaphorically, and just conjure the experience of the field. What is Rumi alluding to that you recall? I'd love to go to the chat if you want to put in a word or a phrase just to start to harvest what your relationship is to the field. Jane says boundless wonder. Jonah says peaceful and connected. Adina, there's no right or wrong in nature, it just is. No judgment there. Amy says the world, our lives are much broader than we assume. Maya connotes awe, openness, gratitude, and Aaron, the non-dual reality, and Sarah Lise, the wide expanse, exposed and held. So the field is a place that's beautiful, where okayness is possible, where there's no judgment, where you might say it's a neutral space, potentially, or at least space that doesn't have the human distraction. And then there's something else there, openness and awe. The potential for the awakening of gratitude. So we're going to turn to the field as one of our great sages, our Hasidic sages, Rabbi Nachman, articulates in his magnum opus work, Likte Macharan. Rabbi Nachman explores so many areas of wisdom, and his relationship to the natural world is not the least of which. Know there is a field in which grow very beautiful and pleasant trees and grasses. It is impossible to depict the inestimable beauty of this field and its growth. Fortunate is the eye that has seen it. And it seems like y'all have seen it. How fortunate we are. These trees and grasses are the holy souls that grow in the field. But, he says, there are many naked souls that move and wander about outside the field, waiting for and anticipating rectification, so that they will be able to return and enter their places. So contemplate Rabbi Nachman for a moment. There is a field. It's impossible to estimate its beauty. And he says the trees and grasses are the holy souls that grow in the field. There are many souls that move and wander about outside the field waiting to return. What is the field? Why is he speaking of trees and grasses as souls? And what souls are wandering outside the field? I'm curious if anyone is, again, to jump into this conversation, we ask you to raise your hand. We'll see you, and either Malka or Sarah Lise will unmute you. And Julien, I just want to say, as you're being unmuted, Julien, that I'm touched that you're baking or something while you're here with us. And I just want to say thank you for doing you while joining us here, and taking care of little ones. Amazing. So it's all welcome. It's blessed. Thank you.
I'm glad that that's not seen as rude. And now that the baby
Not
can
at
see faces, all the crying. So let's see if we can repeat the experiment. For the for the grasses and trees in the field, doesn't Deuteronomy say that each tree is equal to a human life, and even if you're putting a city under siege, it's wrong to kill the trees because they have no chance to escape?
Yes, thank you. So Deuteronomy, I think it's 23. It's saying that a person, the line in the Deuteronomy I think you're referring to is that a person is like a tree in the field, and commentators go all over the place on what that means. But we are likening a person to a tree in the field, and later we are educated not to waste. This is the roots of the principle of bat hashlit, not to waste, specifically not destroying fruit trees. So then the conversation becomes, well, how is a human like a tree of the field? And of course, we have roots, we have a trunk, we have flowers and fruit, and we have seeds and the generations, and then it gets to looking at the Eitz Chaim, the tree of life, and Torah and humankind and our relationship to the cycles of life and wisdom. And I think these are some of the aspects. And so, yes, I think this is a really nice touch point for what the trees and grasses of the field are. But what is the field? I'm looking at the chat. I saw someone, like Jane mentioned, the field is the universe. Yes, the field is the universe, or we might call it the cosmos. The field, Rupert Sheldrake speaks of the field in morphic field theory. The field is it's God, in a sense. As Amy says, it is also ourselves, for we are in the field of God. And it's dense energies and less dense energies. So this is where the realms of quantum physics begin to meet the realms of spirituality. Hannah says that the field is more than anything else, a place in my heart, which can be seen anywhere when my heart perceives life in a unified way. And I would say that our hearts become the sacred centers of this field. Another way I think of saying what Hannah's saying, so I completely agree. And Jeffrey Cusser, welcome, says the vegetative consciousness is the foundation of all the living awareness that are built upon it. A potent statement that the vegetative field, if you think about the creation story, that the vegetative field comes first in creation, and therefore its consciousness is the beginning. The field is the universe. The field is the everythingness. The field is spirit. And it is our awareness. Now, what might it mean to be a naked soul wandering outside the field? What might it mean to be a naked soul wandering outside the field? I saw a hand
Adina,
go
go
up.
ahead. Yes, Adina
Great,
is
thank you.
unmuted now. Yeah.
And I'm spotlighted. I was thinking that it is all the parts of ourselves that are not connected to that place that you were just defining.
Nice. All the parts of ourselves that are not connected. Great. So it's not necessarily that it's an entire being, but it's aspects of beingness. I could not agree more. The concept of soul retrieval comes up. It's one of the principles of shamanic healing, that there are parts of ourselves that become alienated. We have to retrieve them. And Hannah then brings in the mythical notion of Eden, the Garden of Eden. Being outside the field is outside the Eden. And I would say, yes, probably Rabbi Nachman is referring to the Garden of Eden. I think you're right about that. And the Garden of Eden isn't a place per se, but it's a mythical consciousness. And then to bring that from the mythic and the soul level, then we come down to the human physical level, which is, and we're operating on all these levels all the time, that there is a way of returning to ourselves, or calling back the aspects of ourselves, and even from in the mythical way, returning back to the Garden of Eden. So Rabbi Nachman, I think, in this Torah is setting us up for the return, if you know what I mean. Before we continue, Nachman is very thick with lots of ideas, so I want to make sure we don't go too fast through his ideas. Is this evoking anything for anyone else before we move on? Okay, beautiful. Go back to the source sheet. And I do believe we shared the source sheet to the chat. If we hadn't, Malka and Sarah, Lisa, you can share the source sheet. It's on Sefaria. Just want to do a plug-in for Sefaria. Sefaria is online source sheet creator, totally free access to the community. I use it all the time, and it's amazing. And I just want to say thank you to Sefaria. And if you love Sefaria, give a little. They didn't ask me to say this, but I think it's really worthwhile. It's a nonprofit. They do great work. So we're going to go back to Sefaria into the source sheet. So now we go to Hit Bodedut. And Rabbi Nachman defining Hit Bodedut. First of all, the word Hit Bodedut is a reflexive verb. Hit Boded is to make yourself alone. Hit Bodedut is making oneself alone. So it's something one does to oneself, and it's what Rabbi Nachman adopted as the core principle and practice of his Talmidim, of all of his students. Set aside time each day to meditate and pray alone, in a room or some meadow, and express your innermost thoughts and feelings and personal prayers to God. Use every kind of appeal and argument. Use words that will endear you to God and win God's favor. Plead with God to draw you closer and let you truly serve him. Acknowledging the gender language, I kept it here. This is the 18th century. Of course, we would keep sticking to Rabbi Nachman's actual translation, but we can then, of course, use to serve the one. That's my preference. But this act of making self alone and pleading, this is Hit Bodedut. Now we give some key instructions to how one practices Hit Bodedut in Nachman's approach. You should hold these conversations in whatever language you speak best. So here's a key to Nachman's approach, not just to Hit Bodedut, to prayer in general, that if your native language is English, then he is saying, do your Hit Bodedut, pray in English. Our set prayers are said in Hebrew. That is what we've been passed down. But if it's not one's native language, it is difficult to use it to give full expression to your innermost thoughts and feelings. And the heart is less drawn after the words. It is easier to pour out your heart and say everything you need in your own language. So just an encouragement from Rabbi Nachman, both in Hit Bodedut, but also in prayer in general. Let us use the language of our hearts. Let us use the language that we are most comfortable with. Then Rabbi Nachman says, Hit Bodedut is of the greatest value. It is the way to come closer to God because it includes everything else. Now, Rabbi Nachman is a great scholar of Torah, Talmud, esoteric studies. He has volumes upon volumes of master writings, but he says Hit Bodedut is the greatest of all. It is the way to come close to God because it includes everything else. No matter what you lack in your service of God, even if you feel totally remote from God's service, tell God everything and ask the one for all that you need. Hit Bodedut is the highest. It is greater than everything. So in Rabbi Nachman's instruction, go outside. And yes, if you're inside of a room, you can do heat bodedut in your room. But Rabbi Nachman, we'll see soon, really prefers us to go out into nature. It's very clear. And to use the words of our heart to connect. And then in the second volume of Likutei Moharan 96, the second image here, he talks about what happens if you don't know what to say. And he says in this verse, he says, when it is hard for you to express yourself in heat bodedut, even saying a single word is beneficial. So I'd like to see a raise of hands. And if your screen is off and you want to come back for a moment just to raise your hand or not, that's fine. If you want to be off video, that's fine too. But the invitation is to raise your hands. How many of you have practiced heat bodedut of some kind? All right. So actually, the ones if I can see, most of us have. Just do with the thumb. Excellent. Okay. Now, how many of you have practiced heat bodedut in the style that Rabbi Nachman is teaching, which is to go out alone and very specifically express in words everything in your heart? How many of you have done this kind of heat bodedut? Okay. So almost the same, maybe a few less. Great. So this is all to say that in heat bodedut, there isn't necessarily one right way to do it. Nachman's encouragement in Likutei Moharan is really the way of emoting through the voice, through the word. And one image that came to me during heat bodedut once was in a moment where I was stumbling and stuttering on my words. I was really trying to do it the Nachman way. I'm speaking and I'm stuttering and I'm starting to say things like, I don't even know why I'm here, and da da da, you know. And then I kind of, at some point, I hit a flow and I started to pull like a string down into my soul. And the words came, and then at some point I hit like the faucet, the fluid flow of words became really easeful. And all of a sudden what was coming out of me was like not Zelig's words from the mind, but words from like the field, the deeper place. And I even noticed that the prayer I was praying was the teaching I was there to receive, if you know what I mean. So today, I want to encourage us to do heat bodedut in that way. So we're going to go to heat bodedut in just a few, but I want to bring us to one more aspect of heat bodedut and being alone, and that is this aspect of the conversation. So it's not just words. Oh, I'm feeling, oh, you know, help me. Oh, thank you. Oh, yes. There's an and. And so Rabbi Nachman goes to the story of Isaac. And in the story of Isaac, now we're in Genesis 24, and this is after the Akedah. This is after Avram and Yitzchak on Mount Moriah and the almost slaughtering of Isaac. This is the binding of Isaac. This comes after we meet Isaac again. And when we meet Isaac, we meet him, Vayatzeh Yitzchak l'suach basadeh, v'yinoft erev, vayisa enav, vayer hineh gemalim be'im. And Isaac went out into the field toward evening. And then looking up, he saw the camels approaching. And we know that who's approaching but his beloved. So in this verse, Nachman is going to key into the word lesuach, because Safaria and very commonly translate lesuach as walking in the field. But lesuach is a very interesting word. It can mean planting, like planting seeds. It also can mean conversing, like having a conversation. In fact, that's probably the more accurate description. It can also mean like meditating. to be contemplative in the field. So Yitzchak is in a moment in his life of great transition, and he's by himself, L'suach basadeh. And so Rabbi Nachman in Likutei Moharan then goes into the translation. When a person prays in the field, Nachman says, all the plants enter into the prayer. And this is back to Jeffrey comment that the vegetative field of consciousness supports. That is the original field. So when we tune into that field, all the plants enter into the prayer, helping one strengthen one's prayer. This is the reason prayer is called sicha, or conversation. And then we refer back, and this was awesome, Jeffrey, that you talked about the vegetative field, the original field, because Nachman then refers to the concept of siach, which means shrub of the field. And this is the reference to the creation story, when the shrubs are generating the physical field. But we all know that nothing is just physical. It's also the original consciousness is siach. All the shrubs of the field empower and assist his prayer. This is the concept of, and Yitzchak went out l'suach basadeh, v'yetzeh Yitzchak l'suach basadeh, to converse in the field. Yitzchak's prayer was with the help and power of the field. And all the plants of the field empowered and assisted his prayer on account of which prayer is called sicha, or conversation. So this is the nexus between prayer, field, and being contemplative, or being in prayer in the field. That there is this consciousness of the plants that is the original consciousness. And there's also the individual consciousness of each individual plant. Rabbi Nachman say each plant has a soul speaking. Now, this notion that creation somehow, the different aspects of creation, somehow we can speak with and to or through, is a foreign concept in the Western mind. And so I want to take a poll, if you don't mind, coming back to our room. How many of you feel comfortable speaking with trees? How many of you are cool with that? 1, 2. This is amazing. Wow. Okay. So most of us are comfortable with this. Well, this is a holy crew here. And I would say that this is one of the great disconnections of our Western culture, which is not such endemic in this room right now. Thank God. There is healing. But that there is access to actually communicate with creation. I brought one slice of evidence from the Gemara, from the Talmud. And this is just a very cool piece to encourage us to deepen our practice of speaking with creation. In Bava Batra, this is in part of the Talmud dealing with property and also the things, we enter into this wild story about the sages and who they were. And in this particular line, the Talmud says, Hillel the elder. Now we know Hillel the elder. This is Hillel who said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. The rest is commentary, right? While standing on one foot. This is Hillel the sage, Hillel the great, Hillel who lived right before the turn of the millennia, who many speculate was a sage and teacher of Yehoshua, known as Jesus Christ. That it said that Hillel had 80 students, and when they say 80, they probably mean hundreds or thousands. And the least of them was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Of course, Yochanan ben Zakkai becomes the famed one who then moves rabbinic Judaism through Yavne and the codification of Mishnah Torah, a great, 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 great sage. Well, he is known as the lesser of Hillel's students. So they're making a point. They're exaggerating that to make a point. And the sages said that about Yochanan ben Zakkai, he did not neglect any of the core canon, the Bible, the Mishnah, the Talmud, the Halachot, the Jewish law, the Agadot, the legendary stories, the minutiae of the Torah. And in addition to him being a master of all this, he also did not neglect esoteric matters, including the conversation of demons, the conversation of palm trees, and the conversation with angels. And then commentator upon commentator go in and say, well, what was Ben Zakkai? What were these conversations? Were they like stories that he learned that he could tell? And no, the commentators say that Yochanan ben Zakkai, the least of the 80 students, had the capacity to actually be in conversation with the different aspects of cosmic reality, you know, from the angelic realms up high to the manifested realms rooted in the earth, the trees. And in fact, that he had spells and prayers to help trees grow better and bloom better fruit. And there was that Ben Zakkai was in dialogue with the creative world. And so I just want to say that this is a very deep, very old, very rooted aspect of being a human being, as well as being within Judaism, coming right out of the Hillel the Elder, which is the center of the ancient tradition. Okay. How's everybody doing? So we're going to transition now towards a little bit of practice with some of this context. And I want to see if there's any questions, any comments, or any suggestions that we might want to share with each other in the next few minutes before we go out and practice. Okay, good. Well, so the instruction will be to go out. And out can mean leave your home. I'm going to go out this door right there and sit outside for 10 minutes. As a general principle, I'd say 20 minutes is a good minimum amount of time. But because we only have 25 minutes left in the session, we want to have some closing discussion, we'll do 10 minutes. And I really want to challenge you to take these 10 minutes in actual heat bodhidut. If you don't have access to going fully outdoors to a garden or even the street, then open a window and sit with your chair by the window and beseech the Holy One, from their place. And if that's not accessible either, then feel no guilt or anything. Find a quiet place, a comfortable place, and just go inward. They say that some of Nachman's students will go into their closet in their homes to do this practice of heat bodhidut. So there's not hard and fast rules. But I do encourage you to go into the natural world because we can see how the field, the trees, the grasses play such a potential and instrumental role. So with that, we're gonna recite Rabbi Nachman's prayer. We're gonna go out for 10 minutes. And I'll come back in and I'll sing a verse of Rabbi Nachman's song that I began with. And then we'll have about 10 minutes of closing. And Amy Cass asks, is there an idea about whether to sit or stand? And I'm going to say, I'm going to invite you to do whatever is most comfortable. So to be in your body in whatever way feels most comfortable. Sometimes I sit, sometimes I stand. I'm going to walk out there and feel what I feel and do whatever that is. It's, but the other core instruction is not just to be outside, but to spend 10 minutes. I want to really practice the word, to let the word be the string. Speak to the one, whisper or scream, but let it actually be words in whatever language you're most comfortable in. And Aaron says he's got to go. Blessings, Aaron. So with that, are there any final questions before we go out for 10 minutes of heat bodhidut? Julian.
What if the neighbors hear us? Like, how do you get over that self-consciousness?
How do you get over self-consciousness? Well, I say one is, if you're truly disturbing a neighbor, then maybe not so loud, because that is a consideration. But otherwise, I think being self-conscious isn't just a problem with the neighbors, but it's also a problem with ourselves. Meaning, if we're thinking about what other people are thinking about us, we're not actually in the field yet. We're kind of wandering outside the field in that moment. In that moment when we can lock into just the prayer and just being connected to that which is coming through us, then we're in the field. And so watch how you're watching yourself and try and release that part of yourself and be fully in the field. And, in this 10 minutes, you may not get there. Not a failure. Not a failure whatsoever. It's always the case that for all of us, including myself, a lot, I get caught in my own self-doubt, my own insecurity, my own self-consciousness. This is the human condition. So it's practice. So we're gonna do 10 minutes of practice and then we'll come back. Hannah says, also make that your prayer. Yes, relate to yourself from that insecurity and put it into prayer and dialogue. Absolutely. So an example, I go out to pray and I start like, Holy One, here's your son, Zelig, Hashalom. I don't know what I'm here for. And frankly, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable, a little insecure. But it's such a beautiful day. And here I am with the trees and grasses. And Rabbi Zelig sent me out here and like, I'm going to keep on talking until I feel it, and then keep going, noticing the wandering mind, and keep on going, keep the flow until it locks in. And hopefully God willing to lock in and then just pray. We'll come back at around 11:50 and I'm going to send you out the songs. I'm singing the song, Please Go. Turn off your screens, leave your screens on, whatever you feel. And we'll come back at 11:50. Yai nai nai nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Yai na na nai 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 nai. Yai nai nai nai. Yai nai nai. Yai nai nai yai. Yai yai na nai. Yai nai nai. Yai nai nai nai. Nine, 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 nine. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yay, die, 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 die. Yay, die, 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 die. The whole entire world is a very narrow bridge, a very narrow bridge. A very narrow bridge. The whole entire world is a very narrow bridge. A very narrow bridge. And the main thing to recall, have no fear. Have no fear at all, and the main thing to recall is to have no fear at all. Yiddy die 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 die. Yai die die die. Yai die yai die 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 yai die 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 yai die die die. Yiddy die 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 die. Yiddy die 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 yai die die die. Yai die 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 yai die 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 yai die 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 yai die 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 die. Okay, welcome back, friends, from your heat bodedut. I hope it was a good 10 minutes. And we're going to take the next 10 minutes to wrap the bundle. And Sarah Elise has unlocked all of your microphones so you can unmute yourself. And we're going to have a conversation about that experience. So my question is simply, what was that like for you? And what do you feel in reference to being in the field? How did you connect in the way Rabbi Nachman is encouraging us to connect? Yeah, Adina, please.
Hi. So it's interesting because I put in the comments before that that I talk to the trees, but that I haven't yet learned how to truly listen and understand and interpret what it is they're telling me. And I sort of just had like a smack across the face when I went outside, because I have a little, it's not really a courtyard, it's basically a cement garden, but I love it. And I have lemon balm and I have thyme and all these other herbs out there. And every time I walk by, I'm like rubbing the leaves and smelling them, and this purple plant that has like all this fur on it, and the aloe that has those sharp spiky edges. And I'm like, that's their language. What was I thinking? I'm waiting for them to talk to me in English. That's my arrogance, right? So it was really a beautiful practice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, in the commentaries on Ben Zakkai's communication with palm trees in particular, they say, that he would able to interpret the way they were moving as a language. So absolutely stunning. As Amy says, marvelous, yes. And I will say, there's an and that there are moments when we might hear them in our own language. So I'd be open to that possibility too. I have a few experiences like that when I'm in deep nature for multiple days. I've received some real wisdom from trees. Trees, by the way, the word eitz for tree is the same root as etzah, advice or counsel. Abraham and Sarai, Avram and Sarai go to a tree to receive their first vision. They get the Eitzah from the tree. So there's a deep potential for communication, both in the ways you're saying, Adina, as well as others. Okay, somebody else wants to share from their own experience. Amy.
What I thought, 10 minutes is not nearly long enough. It's going to take me 10 minutes to even get there. And I didn't find that at all. I just decided, I remembered that you said, well, just say, I'm here. Rabbi Zelig said I should do this. So I did that. And within seconds, I have a dance practice that I do, and I was moving, and I was in the field, and I had an interesting revelation, revelation. There's a lot of resistance right now to wearing masks. And because people don't want to cover their face, but I started to, I'm comfortable covering my face, and I started thinking, what is it about uncovering and covering our face? Like, it's pretty profound. And the deeper I went into the field, the more I wanted to cover my face. So I could have less barriers between me and going there. So
Beautiful wisdom coming through, Amy. And 10 minutes is a small dip in the sea, but so much can come through in just a dip. And I would encourage you to go back and spend 20 minutes and take that prayer deeper. So one more comment, and we'll move towards wrapping our bundle. But I'm curious if anyone else would love to share their experience. Jane.
I just felt I was just sitting and feeling the sunshine, and that feeling of warmth from the sun was this blessing.
Amen. Thank you. And what Jane's saying is a reminder that there is not one way to do hitbodedut. Today, I really encourage you to follow the specific Rebbe Nachman instruction of pouring your heart out like water with words, That's one instruction. Another instruction would be go out and just sit and receive the blessing of the sunshine, or the blessing of the birds. Like hitbodedut starts to hyperlink into many other beautiful practices. Learning the language of the birds requires a deep hitbodedut practice. And there is a whole language in the bird world that is ready for us to learn. And through the bird language, we're taught through many stories, Baal Shem Tov stories, King Solomon stories, that then we get connected into the angelic realms through the bird language, the bird song language. So this is the beginning of a whole field, you might say. And there is the language of the bread. Thank you, Gina, for bringing us back to the kitchen. So I want to call on Hannah Aaron, if you don't mind. I'm going to put this Rebbe Nachman's prayer up on our screen. And would you mind reading it for us? Thank you.
Reb Nachman's prayer. Grant me the ability to be alone. May it be my custom to go outdoors each day, among the trees and grasses, among all growing things. And there may I be alone, and enter into prayer, to talk with the one to whom I belong. May I express there everything in my heart, and may all the foliage of the field, all grasses, trees, and plants awake at my coming. To send the power of their life into the words of my prayer, so that my prayer and speech are made whole through the life and spirit of all growing things, which are made as one by their transcendent source. May I then pour out the words of my heart before your presence like water, O Lord, and lift up my hands to you in worship on my behalf and that of my children.
Thank you so much. Let us say, Amen. Amen. So I give you thank you, and just an encouraging word to, if this taste was delicious, to invite you to make some kind of commitment, maybe 10 minutes of hitbodedut, or maybe even 20 minutes of hitbodedut, 3 times a week for 4 weeks, or something like that, and try it out and see where it takes you, because the practice opens and opens. So I give thanks, and I'm going to pass over to my my friends who are supporting this call for some final words from Wilderness Torah before we close.
Thank you. Malka here from the Wilderness Torah team, and just want to give announcements about what else we have coming up for the rest of this week and next week. So tomorrow we're going to have a session called Ritual Rosh Chodesh and the Rabbis with Aya Baron. And next week we're going to explore emotional resilience and mindfulness with Rebecca Schisler, prophetic singing with Rabbi Ariel Wolp, Revelation with Rabbi Zelig, and a special Earth-based Shavuot Learning Day in collaboration with Urban Adabah, Hazon, and Pearlstone. During that session next Friday, we'll be doing singing and hands-on workshops and visits from the goats of the Adabah farm and some text studying, and it's going to be a really wonderful 3-hour program. And lastly, just if you've enjoyed these sessions, if this is your first time and you're looking for more, you can always share our Facebook events with people. Anyone from across the world can join our virtual sessions. So please invite folks on Facebook as well as to our Virtual Village Facebook group, where you can discuss our classes and check out notes from past classes. My peer, Sarah Leese, is going to insert some links into the chat, such as our website, our newsletter link, and our donation page if you feel called to support our work deeper. We appreciate all donations, big and small. And as well, you can fill out our survey to let us know how we're doing and how we can support you more. And lastly, thank you so much, Rabbi Zelig. As always, every week is such a pleasure to go on this arc and journey with you of learning Earth-based Judaism practices, and hitbodedut is certainly a really important one. So thank you so much again, and I'll pass it back to you to say goodbye. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you, Malka. Thank you, Sarah Leese, and thank you to everyone. And just a comment that, this is a Jewish practice, as Rabbi Nachman taught it, and as many other masters practiced it and passed it down. It's also universally human practice. One of my beloved teachers, John Young, who learned through Native peoples, Apache scouts, Stocking Wolf, Tom Brown, he said that this is the master practice of the master indigenous people, those who are most deeply connected. And so a real deep invitation, if you is an important, powerful doorway. So thank you. Have a blessed day and a blessed Shabbat coming. Shabbat Shalom. Yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 nai. Blessings to all on this Malchut of Yesod, roots down deep, my friends. Shabbat Shalom.